Wait. I'm gonna stop my dryer.
I already pushed yes.
Or check my dryer. All right, we're okay. My dryer still got like 40 minutes before.
Hey there, writers and muse daters. I am so excited to be speaking to you today with Andy about something that we really care about, which is community, writing community. So Andy, tell us a little bit about how writing community is important to you and what you think, and let's get this conversation started.
So writing communities are important because there's the saying of it takes a village. And that's something important to have not only a village, but a village of people who are there to support you and there to help you through the difficult times. And something that I know that you've worked really hard on creating through these Facebook groups. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So here we are in Write to Publish live. And one of the things that is really important here in Write to Publish is what people have seen and what they've experienced so far, which is a real sense of community based on neuroscience. So this just isn't, any community. There are lots of groups on writing out there. And what makes Write to Publish really special is that the way that we interact is based on science, on the way that our brain learns and creates the best, which means that the way that we're talking with each other, the way that we're supporting each other is very, very different from what you might have seen in other groups. So in other groups, people are saying, hey, buy my 99-cent ebook, or, somebody says, what do you think the title of my book should be? And someone says, well, it should be Dum Dum Head, or, it's like very silly things that happen in other groups. And I watch this happen every day. But what I watch happen in Write to Publish is that people are engaging in meaningful conversation about the writing and publishing process, and that they're really supporting each other and working to be helpful to one another, and really trying to understand where the person is coming from, participating in active listening rather than judgment. It's a really powerful community. And Andy, I think one of the really important aspects, and I know you and I have talked about this a whole lot, is that people see this as a community center, the place that they come to, versus, having those conversations one-on-one, or having to email somebody or message them or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's very true. And even for the people who are in our writing gym programs, I tell them, these Facebook groups are a resource. They're your ability to gain knowledge from other writers who have been in these exact same situations. Even for the people who are in our writing gym program, and those situations can then benefit you. Are a resource. They're your ability to gain knowledge from other writers who have been in these exact same situations. Even for the people who are in our
pardon us while we experience technical difficulties. Sorry, go ahead, Andy. You were saying.
I said that even for the people who are in our various writing gym programs, I tell them use these Facebook groups as a resource. If you have a question, if you're unsure about something, go to the groups and post and ask, because you're benefiting from the experiences and the knowledge of every other writer in the group, and really getting to, figure out new things about your writing through them.
Yeah, and you raise a really interesting point as you talk about that, Andy, because there have been people who have tried to kind of move that conversation elsewhere. And I know, as the personal trainer in the writing gym, you've seen some of the negative consequences of that. Tell us a little bit about your observations, the kinds of things that you see. What happens when people try to take away from the group?
Well, it creates a problem where we've worked so hard to create these communities and build up the mindset portion of the personal training sessions and the writing gym, and getting people in really good creative mindsets to give them creative flow to finish their books, or good creative flow to revise if they're in the mastermind, depending on your program. And when people have been getting outside messages or messages from other groups, or things that pull them away from that community, it causes a mindset change. It causes unrest, it causes worry, and they're coming into, training sessions saying, I got this super weird message. I'm not really sure what to do about it, but now I'm really nervous about what's going on in chapter 3. And oh my God, does that change everything? And oh my God, and panicking. And so all this work that we've done over, however long they've been in the program, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, is torn down in a few moments by an errant message that someone probably didn't think twice about sending.
Yeah, that's so true. And, the core of what we do is around being in the right mindset. And it's not just some kind of woo, like, la kind of thing that we do. It's all based on that science, going back to that neuroscience of how we learn and create best and really staying in that zone. We take that really seriously in this group because we have to, the other thing that happens in the other groups that, you've seen, I've seen, whether they're like in-person groups or Facebook groups, is that fear runs rampant and competition, and there's a lot of negativity happening for people, and we don't want that to trickle into our group. And then, from a really basic human level, that exclusion inclusion thing, right? When you know that other people are talking, it's very, very natural for you to think, well, why didn't they include me? Like, are they talking about me, or am I not good enough to be part of that group? And no one likes that feeling of exclusion. And we stand for exactly the opposite. We are all about inclusion and really including and bringing in everyone into that conversation, regardless of what genre you're writing in, whether you've published before, if it's your first time, if you're writing poetry, if you're writing fiction. We want to hear from you about your experiences and what your questions are and how things are going for you and what questions you have. This needs to be an open place. And I think that you're really right, Andy, when people are having those side conversations or when they're reaching out to others in the group and asking them individual questions about writing, it undermines their mindset and the work that we've done, certainly for the people who are enrolled in the writing gym, but also for the people who are in Write to Publish, who are used to a certain standard of community.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that that's, it's so important. The inclusion part of it is so important to me. I think that I've heard a lot of stories about various writers who have had problems in other writing groups, and that kind of competition and anger and negativity that breeds, intentional or unintentional, just isn't the direction that, we've decided that this group should be around. We want that inclusion. We want everyone to be speaking to each other, building each other up, helping each other out, and creating the best writing community that could possibly exist.
Yeah, which it is, I mean, we have had so many people, I mean, and not just because we love it, we do, and we helped create it, so we're a little biased, but we hear from so many people when they finally find us, wow, this place is so different. Wow, I've been to these other places and it's been backbiting and it's been cruel, and the editors haven't understood what my message was. My fellow participants were cruel or whatever, right? We've heard all of these negative stories, and then people find a place here. So we just want to make sure that people are keeping the conversation in the group where it should be, to continue to have those quality conversations about writing, to engage one another within the context of the group as they have been doing, because that's where the real power is. That's where the neuroscience is really engaged, and the way that we do things is different from the way that other people do things. This isn't sort of one of those groups where we have 10,000 people who don't know each other. This is a community, and we want it to be a community. We want it to be a place where people come. They're not just responding to something that they see in their timeline. This is a place to make as a destination, to arrive on a daily basis, to scroll the posts, to respond, to ask questions, and to know who's writing what, and to begin to care about those people and celebrate their victories.
Exactly. What you said.
So we look forward, those of you who are watching, hello, thank you for watching. Please tell us what you're writing in the comments. Tell us what questions you have, where you are, where you'd like to go, those kinds of things. We'd love to hear from you. And between now and then, as we always say, Andy,
happy writing.